HVTV presenteras av Invid, Intersport, Nybergs bil och Jönköpings Energi.
When I signed my last contract, I said to Peter Eklund and Christopher Davidson, I said, this will be the last one now. My daughter's, I came here because I have a daughter here, so she's going to be 18. And me and the wife, we kind of had this dream of doing a big trip around the world. So basically, that's sort of what's going to happen.
Tell us how it all started, because your background is not in hockey.
No, basically I left school in the 1980s and kind of by chance, because it was kind of a new thing becoming a personal trainer in them days. So basically I went to college and became a personal trainer. And it was kind of a new thing, and I did that for probably close on 10 years, but then round about the middle of the 90s I started working more with sports teams, like more friidrotter, you know, athletes, track and field, a little bit footballers. Then I went off to Australia. I worked in Australia for a couple of years, and I worked with a rugby. There's an English game called rugby, like, and that's quite a physical game, like hockey. So there is a lot of carryover. I worked with a hockey team in Australia many years ago. A few years after that also in New Zealand, and then when I came back, I worked with some Man United, with a lot of high profile footballers. And then when I was at the Olympics in 2000 in Sydney, I actually worked with the British sailing team. So basically every single sport I've worked with I've never really played, but but it just goes to show, if you know about the body and you know about training, there is, with your experience, you can carry things over, you know. So I think hockey was new to me at the time when I first came to Sweden, but nah, it's been great. It's been great. I've loved everything about it, and I'm a convert now. I'm a hockey fan and definitely a Hovey fan now. So,
but how was it for an Englishman to come and work for a hockey team?
If I would have been 10 years younger, it probably would have been strange, but because I'd already worked for like rugby, which is a physical team, football like the team sport kind of thing, because a lot of the other sports I work with were more individual sports, so it is a little bit different, team sport and all that. And of course, there's many differences, having different lines and a slightly different season and everything else, but there is a lot of carryover as well. So it's like anything, the first 1 or 2 seasons you kind of learn in the system, but with your experience you can always adapt. And I was quite lucky because the first couple of years I worked with the juniors, I had Patrick Ross and Anders Olsson and Stefan also with the under-16 team, Stefan Önskog. And the communication and everything was there, and they realised like that I didn't know much about hockey, so they really sort of helped me kind of cross over and transfer. So I mean, Hove is a great club. Everyone I've worked with, all the colleagues, everyone's been great, and everyone from the first minute that I walked in the place has been super friendly, welcoming and great. So I feel very lucky to have worked at such a great club, really. There's nothing really bad I can say about the place, you know. It's
now we're here in your your home, the gym. But have you ever been on ice in this 15 years?
Actually, good question. Not properly with skates on. I've been on the ice playing around doing drills, but I've never actually been skating, believe it or not. I tried it when I was a kid, like 40, 50 years ago, whatever it was, 45 years ago, but I've never, not since, I'm too scared of breaking my leg, so I can't work. That's my sort of excuse. Yeah.
Now you're traveling around the world and a new experience, and when you sit there on the beach and enjoying the sun, what will be the best memories from your years here in HV71?
I mean, since I started working here, I think 2008 was the first season, so we won gold, but I was quite new. But it was a great start. I started summer training, 2 or 3 weeks later we won the gold grade. I think it was silver in 9 if I remember, then it was gold 10. But we've won a few golds, but 17 was the best, I have to say. Like, I mean, All right, yeah, of course. It was like the Hollywood ending. It went to all 7 games in the Slutspel, and it was in sudden death when we won it. I was sat up, me and Signe, my daughter, in the middle of all the Brynäs fans. It was just like a Hollywood ending. But me personally, the best memory of that was at least half of that team I had in the juniors, like, you know what I mean? I'd seen them go from boys to men. And then Simon, all right, I only had Simon for 1 season, like his last year as a junior. But I still knew him when he was young, and seeing him, well, first of all, Tom Green scored the equaliser. I had Christopher when he was younger, and then Simon, like a boy from Jönköping, a Hovey player, scoring that goal in the lie. It was like the Hollywood movie, you know what I mean, with the dream ending. It was great. But also with the juniors, I mean, I think Sugar have won 3 or 4 golds since I've been here. We went to Sochi and come very, very close. We got to the final and was really unlucky not to win. They were great memories. And hopefully now, Orton are in the final of, the semi-finals of the Slutspel for the SM. Tomorrow, semi, hopefully final Friday. I've got a really good feeling that they can do it. So we're all saying our prayers and crossing our fingers. Hopefully they'll do it, and then for me it's just going to be the perfect ending, like, and then hopefully the Arlor get come back up again to the SHL. So yeah, hopefully if those 2 things happen, it's like the dream ending and the perfect way to leave, really. So I hope so. Yeah.
But you, as you said, you worked with the younger guys. What has been the most fun to work with younger guys who's upcoming?
That is great. I mean, like, of course, like, if I use Orton as an example now, Noah Early then, Axel Landin, there's a boy Noah Edebeck, he's out scored at the moment, but a lot of them boys, I mean, the Nolfera boys, Alex Samber and Malti and Max Carlin and Hampus Sandal and Noah Persson, and I'm sure there's another one I forgot, but I knew them when they were 8 years old, you know what I mean? And like seeing them come up now, and I hope they win the SM and go, and you know, and a lot of the other guys, I mean, yeah, I mean, Erik Brännström doing well in the NHL now. I knew him when he was like 14, 15 years old, you know, so yeah, there's been a lot of journeys that you've seen, and yeah, I mean, I've been very, very privileged to have done that, you know, and I hope that most of them will look back and really think that I was a part of that journey as well. So we'll see. Maybe in a few years when they look and reflect, they'll realise. But
Kelvin, after you had your vacation, if we call it that, you trained HV71, Manchester United, sailing team, rugby team. Yeah. What will be the next?
I don't know.
Chapter?
That's my thing. I mean, like, I've loved every single minute of it here, as I keep saying. No regrets whatsoever. This has actually been the longest job I've ever had in my life. I think after this, 8 or 9 years, my first job in England, this has been almost 50. So it's almost double of any the length of time of any other job that I've had. I've loved it, I do, but for 10 years I've been working 5 nights a week now, you know, no real summer vacation because you have hockey camps and all that. And working with kids, it does take a lot of energy, like, you know what I mean? So I just feel the last season or so I've been running on empty a little bit. So I think now's the time to pass it on to someone a bit younger with fresh energy. And I'm sure they'll do a great job. And for me, if I have a year away, hopefully I can reflect a bit, recharge the batteries, and then whichever that next job is, I can give it 100% energy then, you know. And before COVID, like when we first started planning this trip, it was just before COVID. So at the time, a few of the sort of ideas were, in my line of work, I think, like as a phys coach, as a, you know, in English we say a strength and conditioning coach, I think I've got the best job in Sweden, you know what I mean? It is a great job. But yeah, I think if I did a couple of years working with a few different sports, recharge the batteries a bit, get a few new ideas, I think for your overall development and utveckling, I think it could really work well. There was a couple of opportunities, believe it or not, of working in Saudi Arabia, promoting women's sport, believe it or not. And I think something like that, like a totally different thing, just kind of could be a challenge, yeah. So we'll see. And yeah, there's been one or two other sort of, not like offers, but you know, conversations have taken place with different things in like South Africa, for example, trying to integrate the different races doing different sports, and I think a slightly different project like that could really, if I could really get motivated about it, give it 100%, I think it'd be a really good experience. So we'll see. At the moment, I'm not looking. If something comes along, we see what happens. I'm like, yeah.
Great, Kelvin. We'll see in the future where
absolutely.
Where it ends up.
I mean, Jönköping's always going to be my base. We've got a house here. My daughter's from here. I've got hundreds of friends here. You know what I mean? Hove is always in here. So as far as I'm concerned, I'll always be here. Even if I do work somewhere else, another country, this is always going to be home. So we're always going to come back to visit. And take it from me, I'll be singing Hove's praises in every place I am around the world. Like.